Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. So this evening, we are going to be focusing on how to prepare for World War III and World War IV. Now, before I get into this video, I want to explain that when I say World War III, what I mean is the global conflict on an industrial scale that's going to be fought overseas, i.e. not in the United Kingdom. When I say World War IV, what I mean is the undoubted conflict that's coming to our streets. Now, I've got a couple of videos to share with you guys as well. There's some people in the United States, senators, I think they are, and they've been talking about how here in Europe, here in the United Kingdom, we are literally going to have pitched battles on our streets to take back what we believe is ours. Without getting deeper into everything right now, guys, because I will come on to that. I don't want to steal my own thunder for later on, but that's what we're going to be talking about on this live stream, guys. And people really need to do this before it's too late. Last year, I was talking about, I was saying last year that we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. Literally yesterday, the NATO chiefs, Mark Rutte, British politicians, they're all coming out and saying, oh, we need to start preparing for a war and we need to up our industry. Yeah, so here on this channel, we are normally about 12 months in front of what everybody else is saying. So let me turn the chat on, ladies and gentlemen. Look, guys, the internet this morning was absolutely terrible. I've reset everything. I've updated all my software. So I'm just going to start with my opening monologue and then I'm going to jump onto some videos. But before I do that, guys, I've got a hot chocolate and it's really nice. It's a little bit hot as well. So I want to give some context then. So before I get into this, guys, before I give like the steps, and these are my steps, I want to give some context. So as of, what are we on? The 12th of December, 2025, UK government is intensifying efforts to build national resilience amid escalating threats from Russia. Now, look, you guys are open to your opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. Don't get I know some people are opinionated. Don't be rude. Don't be offensive. If you've got an opinion that's opposite to mine, first of all, it's probably wrong, but I welcome it. Very soon, it's not going to matter who did what, when, why, where, and how. All that's going to matter is we're in this shitstorm and we best get out of it. So, I get, some of you guys may think erroneously that, Russia was provoked, and that's fine if you guys want to think that. It's not going to matter. Some of you guys may think that, NATO is an expansionist organization, and that's absolutely fine. It's not going to matter. It doesn't matter. You're still going to need the same things. All right. So as of today, as of yesterday, well, as of right now, I guess, December, the government in the United Kingdom are intensifying their efforts to build national resilience amid escalating threats from Russia. Now, these threats include, like I've said before, hybrid warfare, asymmetric warfare, non-conventional warfare, grey warfare. These are cyber attacks, sabotage, all these sort of deniable operations. And of course, there is also the risk of direct confrontation, as warned by NATO Secretary Mark Rutte and the Armed Forces Minister Al Carnes yesterday. The National Security Strategy 2025 emphasizes on, I quote, whole of society approach, where civilians play a vital role in sustaining the nation during crisis. Armies respond to battles, but civilians win wars. And that is absolutely true, guys. I was in the military. I was in the military in the invasion of Iraq. I was in the military and I did three tours of Afghanistan, 5 tours of Northern Ireland. And when your nation, when your country forgets about you, you're lost. Doesn't matter how many times you win your battles. If the people at home are more worried about what dress Cheryl Cole's wearing at the X Factor, kind of lost. People forget about it. We opened the borders to a load of Afghan refugees, and look what happens, So while a full-scale invasion of the United Kingdom, it's like ridiculously unlikely due to the English Channel, unless they come, unless the Russians come over on rubber dinghies, I think we can deal with them. And I'd say they're already here in rubber dinghies. So preparation focuses on disruptions like power outages, supply shortages, disinformation, infrastructure failures, airports not working. So let's start with these practical steps, the low-cost steps, and they are going to be, what I'm going to talk about really is going to be aligned with the government's advice, because I can't really fault the government's advice, guys. I really can't. Hang on, I like this. Oh, wait, hang on, somebody said this. Okay. Forever English says Russia has no money to go to war. I agree. Russia's got no money to go to war. They've got no tanks. They've got no bombs. They've got no guns. They've got no trains. They've got no planes. They've got no automobiles. Yet they're taking ground every day. They're producing 150 tanks every month. They're producing 2,900 attack drones every month, similar numbers of decoys. They're producing thousands of armored fighting vehicles every month. But I agree. I absolutely agree. Russia's done. It's over. It's finished. It's not coming back. So yeah. So I don't mean to be facetious there. Forever English. Russia's not done. Money's not relevant. Russia's whole economy has turned into a war economy. So 70% of all Russian factories are now producing for the war. And what is money? What is money? Russia has no money. I've got a computer. I've got the same computing power, and I can create numbers on my screen. I can create spreadsheets. The Russians will just keep printing more money. Russia's too big to run out of money. Russia cannot run out of money, guys, okay? God, this hot chocolate's good, guys. This is a good hot chocolate. This is a real good hot chocolate. Right, let me close that down. So I've got a few steps here. I've got 4 steps. So if you're worried, if you're worried about what's happening and you want to start, if you're worried about what's happening and you want to start, start with some practical steps, I've got 4 of them here. And then I'm going to talk on to something that nobody's talking about. Like absolutely nobody on the internet is even considering this. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, we are so far forward in this channel and nobody else is even considering what we're talking about. But they will do in a year's time, maybe in 2 years' time. Do you know what? Remember how I keep saying to you guys, we are going to look back at December 2025 and we're going to say, wow, things weren't that bad in December 2025. I think I know why. Anyway, right. So first of all, guys, okay, people need to build personal and household reliance. So this would be stock an emergency kit. This would be food, water, anything you need to sustain you for 72 hours. Try and, as a bare minimum, get yourself 72 hours. And look, guys, if you don't want to do any of this, do what my friend in Ukraine, he says, get water, board games, candles, and I threw in there as well vodka. So water, board games, and candles, and forget everything else. So stock an emergency kit. This is the line with the government advice. So prepare for 72 hours, aim for 2 weeks, although not many people are going to achieve that. So try and aim to support yourself for 72 hours without any supplies. And this would include non-perishable food, bottled water. Remember, guys, 3 liters of water per person per day. Battery-operated lights, if you've got like the wind-up ones or the solar-powered ones, torches, spare batteries, mobile phone chargers, medication, first aid kit. And when I talk about first aid kits, like, I see people with like loads of real cool stuff. And I think, do you know how to use that? Like, really? Do you know how to use that? And cash, make sure you've got some cash, guys. Okay. For longer disruptions, I would start adding food like, hang on. For longer disruptions, I would start adding things like food, baby formula. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Sorry, guys. Yeah, so for longer periods of time, start thinking about tin goods. Now, this is a really important one, all right? You need to create a family plan because I've said quite a few times there's going to be civil unrest. There's going to be civil unrest, and I'm going to come on to that in a little bit when I talk about crime. But you can imagine right now in the United Kingdom, we are massively fractured as a society. And I would say that's done as part of subversion. It's been done over time. But, you know, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how, it's here. So I can argue until I'm blue in the face about why we have Somalian communities in the United Kingdom, ranging in their thousands. I could argue why we have Pakistani communities in the United Kingdom ranging in maybe even their millions. I could argue, when this happened, how this happened, what the problems were, point the fingers at Blair, point the fingers at somebody else. It doesn't matter because it's here and it's here now, all right? So create a family plan, discuss evacuation routes, communications, maybe, where you're going to move to in the time, if the internet goes down, what kind of emergency alerts you guys are going to wait for, and try and find somebody's house as like a bug out house. When I talk to you guys about hibernate, relocate, evacuate, it's kind of the same thing. Well, it is the same thing. Find somebody's house that's maybe out in the countryside, not in a built-up area, that has a lot of space, maybe has a big garden you can put tents up on, and say, hey, Raven, can we all come to your house in the event of shit hits the fan? And you're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then you talk about it and you make a plan. People also need to think about, if you're trying to prepare yourself for what's coming, and look, guys, if you don't think we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, absolutely fine. But if you do, like I do, you need to start taking these steps. And another one of the steps to take is home hardening. So what do I mean by home hardening? First of all, like your doors, your windows, your security, harden your home to a criminal attack, because I'm not going to steal my own thunder, but I'm going to come on to that in a little bit. These are things that will inevitably happen. Everybody wants to think about, we're going to secure, we're going to put crosses. We're going to put crosses on the windows with masking tape in case there's an explosion. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think we're going to ever have explosions in the United Kingdom, but the real threats are a criminal threat. Enhanced digital information and security. So cyber hygiene. You guys may or may not know, I've got a friend who went out to not Lithuania. Where has he gone? Where's he gone? Venezuela. He's gone to Venezuela. So I've got a friend who's out in Venezuela at the moment. He's sending me updates. He was telling me about, well, he wasn't telling me. I understood what he was doing. He said, yeah, I'm going to sanitize myself. I'll get in touch when I'm over the other side. So what he did is, he got rid of all digital trace. So new mobile phone, totally clean. He's not going to use his personal email while he's out there. All the numbers, all the people he wants to get in contact with, he's wrote it down on a piece of paper. When he got over to Venezuela, he made a new email. He started everything up fresh. So he's totally sanitized. We already know that there are a lot of cyber attacks in the United Kingdom. Russia's already targeted, and this is out. I think the BBC have reported on this and other news articles. Russia's already attacked UK infrastructure, and NHS, for example, NHS hacks. So, you know, we know these things are real. Disinformation, there's going to be a shit ton of disinformation, guys. You know, when we head into this global conflict on an industrial scale, like, if you think about the propaganda war in the Second World War, the Germans would fly over. What's the guy's name? I think he's the last guy who was executed by the Brits. I think he is. I think he's the last guy who was executed by the Brits. I can't remember his name. But basically, they run propaganda networks. So on the radio, they will, you know, in the Second World War, they would broadcast radio signals saying, Britain is losing. They're losing on all fronts. They're surrendering at, you know, unfathomable rates. You guys are next. You guys can't stop what's coming. And it was all part of the propaganda war. So when we think right now, when we think about artificial intelligence and the images it can generate, very soon we're not going to know what is real and what's not real. So there's going to be a lot of disinformation. Now, I want to say to you guys, I'm not going to say it, but make sure you're conscious about where you get your news sources from. Like, the BBC was caught doctoring a video of Donald Trump, the US president. The BBC is guilty of misinformation against the president of the United States. So who can you really trust for your information? Literally, guys, you know, I would say you can't trust anyone. Of course, you know, except me, of course. You know, you guys can trust me. You guys know I'm straight up, right? So just think about that, guys, all right? Imagine we're heading towards we're in a global conflict right now. Do you think the Russians, the bad guys, whoever that may be, do you think they're going to use artificial intelligence generated videos to show things on the front line happening that may or may not be happening? I would say absolutely. They're going to show masses of British soldiers taking casualties and, oh my God, it's going to be all over the place. We're not going to know what's happening because artificial intelligence is literally getting better every day. It's going to be that good. We're not going to know what's real and what's not. That's the dark reality, guys. That is the absolute dark reality. Now, I mentioned this. Let me finish this, guys. Let me finish this before it gets cold. Because honestly, this hot chocolate is fat. It's one of those Maltesers hot chocolates. I don't usually have them. I've had a tot of milk. I've had a tot of milk in it and a little bit of sugar as well. It's fantastic. Oh, God, that was good. Oh. Yeah, that was good. I do love a good hot chocolate, guys. So we've talked about building a personal household, building personal and household resilience, you know, food, water, creating a family plan, digital security, guys. All right. Digital security and awareness. All right. Digital security and awareness. We are going to be seeing things online that we don't know whether they're true or not. We can't trust the BBC. I don't trust the BBC. And look, if anybody wants to question me on that, the BBC gave misinformation about a speech that Donald Trump gave. Now, whether you like Donald Trump or not, doesn't really matter. That statement is fact. The BBC altered a speech of Donald Trump's to make it sound like he was calling for people to go and fight against the government, and he wasn't. Another thing people need to do is start community engagement. Independence is codependence. If you think about Dunbar's number, which is like, I think it's 140 something, but go with 150. So if you think about Dunbar's number, that is the minimum number that's the minimum number to have the correct amount of diversity. And I don't mean diversity as in having, we've got to have 5 black people and 5 Indian people and 5 Pakistani. No, that's not diversity, guys. That's like self-deletion shit. What I mean by diversity is, you know, you need to have a group of around 150 people to have enough, you know, enough people who are carpenters, enough people who are bricklayers, enough people who are plumbers, enough people for those or everybody to function. You know, so joining these local networks, and I am going to keep harping on about this criminal element, guys. You know, look, I can guarantee you've got 100 prepper channels, maybe even 1,000, and I'm definitely not one of those people, guys. I'm literally a candles, board game, and vodka guy. So what I'm getting at here is there's going to be a criminal element. When this happens, and it will, I believe it will happen, the government are making heavy preparations because they believe it will happen as well. So there's going to be a huge criminal element to this. Now, I'm gonna come on to that in depth in a little bit. What I'm getting at here is people need to start making communities, making friends with your neighbors, self-reliance, depending on your community, and building those trust networks. Because ultimately, guys, as I'm going to come on to in a little bit, you know, the police will not be coming to help you. And personal skill development, or what's it called? PCD? No, what is it? Personal career development, PCD? Is that what it's called, PCD? Skills development. So if you can take any courses now, first aid courses, fire safety, mechanics, engineering, any courses that will that you feel will help, you should absolutely take those, guys. You know, you should absolutely take those courses. Finally, I'm going to go on something here that nobody else talks about, because everybody, like literally, guys, everybody, you know, I bet you, I can guarantee, if I was to say to you, what's in your kit and equipment? What's in your kit? What's in your kit? They'll say, I've got a 24-hour ration pack. I've got my water. I've got these big knives. I've got my fire starting stuff. Guys, we're in the 21st century. All right. Nobody is going down there to the woods to live for 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. All right. It's just not happening. Nobody's going into the woods, making loincloths, eating squirrels. It's not going to happen. Urban survival. And with urban survival, there's just something that we all need to do, guys. Pay our bills. Oh, God, Sean, you're so boring. This is almost like you're talking about these legal frameworks. Yeah, I get it, all right? But think about it. If everything goes wrong tomorrow, can you pay your bills and sustain yourself financially for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? You know, finances, you know, money. Because I can pretty much guarantee, you know, when World War III kicks off, I would pretty much guarantee your bank still want, you know, your bank or your landlord, they still want their money. I'm gonna pretty much go with that, guys. You know, you can go down conspiracy lane and say, because, you know, it's a globalist plan and a takeover to kick everybody out of their houses, and then global nationals buy those houses, and then we're going to own nothing and be happy. You can go down that road, guys. You can. Doesn't matter, because the reality will still be the same. Do you have that financial buffer? You know, can you weather that storm, and how long can you weather that storm for? One thing I would say as well is, you know, if you're thinking about weathering a storm, think about diversifying your energy sources. So, you know, we have a log burner, as you know, but we also have gas. We never use the gas, but we do have it as as another source of energy. So if for like today, for example, my delivery of wood didn't come today. There's too much traffic. He said, I can't get today. I thought, all right, okay, no worries. He's going to come tomorrow morning. Anyway, what I'm getting at is, I'm not turning the gas on, but I could turn the gas on if I wanted. So maybe get yourself, you know, whatever that is. Maybe it's solar panels. Maybe it's like gas bottles. I don't know. But, you know, people need to start really thinking about diversifying their energy sources. Preparation reduces panic, ladies and gentlemen. It does. Preparation reduces panic. You know, And the government are, right now, and this is true, the government are, as of 2025, the UK government is intensifying efforts to build national resilience among, amid escalating threats from Russia. I'm going to jump onto the chat now, guys. I'm going to jump into the chat, and then I will, and I'm going to talk about crime. I'm going to talk about crime because this is the biggest threat. This really is the biggest threat. Crime is the biggest threat, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the biggest threat. Hang on. Let me get some questions on the chat. It's all just one big con, people. You will own nothing and be happy. Agenda, there's always an agenda. It's hard not to see that, guys. Like, when you see these things and you slowly see them moving forwards, it's hard. World wars change worlds. The world will be changed after this, guys. It will be changed ridiculously. There'll be winners, there'll be losers, there'll be dead, and there'll be rich. The Loop is saying America is going to bail out of the conflict inside Ukraine. It's written in the stars. Coalition of the willing is going to have to fight this one on its own. Yeah, look, guys, I've been saying this for over a year. I've been saying this for over a year. This is always going to happen. It's definitely written in the stars. It's on the cards. The Americans are not going to play. The Americans don't want to play. And why should they? Why should they? I've got American friends. Why should American sons and daughters be shipped over to Europe? They shouldn't. You guys know exactly what I'm about to say, right? And I'm about to say what I've said many times before. Us Europeans need to put our big boy pants on and deal with this. Red Wolf is saying, I'm a certified first aid man and a bushcrafting survivalist. There's a saying that you can never get enough supplies. Yeah, I think that goes with what I was saying. So you can never get enough supplies, but there's certainly a limit to what you can carry, right? You can never get enough supplies, but you can only carry realistically, like maybe, I don't know, 40 kilos, maybe 30 kilos. You can, like, realistically, guys, people are not going to carry any more than 30 kilos. It's just not going to happen. Never going to happen. So then you think, what can you achieve with 30 kilos? Well, if you work at 3 kilos of water you're going to have to carry 3 kilos per day. That's just for water. That 30 kilos really starts to jump down real quick. You start to realize that people need to start thinking about bugging in rather than bugging out. James is saying, I think the craze started their crime wave. I think the craze started their crime wave by robbing houses whilst people were in bunkers in World War II. Crime goes through the roof in war. Sean's right. James, do not let anybody think, listen, guys, me and James are not working together. I promise you, me and James did not plan this. But James, you are absolutely right, my friend. I'm gonna segue onto crime now. Because, guys, when our young men are away, what do you think is going to happen in the United Kingdom? What do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to give you some context from World War II. Why am I giving context from World War II? Because we don't have any other data. So I'm going to give you the context, and this is from World War II. Now, when I'm reading this, ladies and gentlemen, all right? When I'm reading this, just consider. Fab Russell, you're right. When I'm reading this, guys, right, just consider when World War II kicked off, 90, almost 100% of the United Kingdom were white Christians. All right? Yeah? ethnically British, all right? When World War II kicked off, the vast majority of people in the United Kingdom identified as white British and a man or a woman. You guys know what I'm saying, right? You guys can read between the lines. So when I give you these statistics, keep in the back of your head the difference in dynamics that we have now. And this is why I've been saying, ladies and gentlemen, World War III and World War IV are coming together, okay? I promise you, World War III and World War IV are coming together. As James is quite rightly saying, there was a crime surge during the Second World War. Now, during the Second World War, UK experienced a significant spike in crime on the home front, exacerbated by the mobilization of millions of fighting-aged men, 18 to 41, overseas or in active service. By 1944, over 3 million British men were in the home armed forces, plus 1.5 million US, leaving, they were the guys over here, leaving vast gaps in family structures, policing, and community oversight. This absence contributed to social disruptions, though it was compounded by wartime factors, blackouts, rationing, and the Blitz. Overall reported crime in England and Wales rose by almost 60%. In a modern conflict scenario, i.e. a war with Russia, mobilizing similar demographics, these patterns could reoccur, potentially amplifying vulnerabilities in youth, youth supervision, law enforcement, amid hybrid threats. So let's just think about it, guys. We're seeing a crime wave already, right? We're seeing young women, children. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Are being attacked now. They're being attacked now. So what do you think it's going to be like when if we get World War III and all our young men are out the country? All our police are busy doing infrastructure projects. And what do you like? Where do you think that's going, guys? What direction do you think that's going? Do you think we'll get more crime or less crime? I'm going to say we've got World War IV, and I will show you guys some videos in a minute. So I want to give you guys some key data because I did look at this. So overall crime did increase. Like, there's no denying it. There was a huge crime wave in the Second World War. Property crimes, as James is saying, when people are hiding in their bunkers, they were getting robbed. It's disgusting. It really is, guys. Some people have got no morals. They've not. But that's the reality, all right? This is the reality. We can pretend it's all rosy. It's not. There's some bad people in this country and they want to do us harm. So overall crime increased. Property crimes, theft, burglary, robbery surged. Absolutely surged in the Second World War. A lot of this was down to blackouts. They were making basically blackouts, making opportunities because all the lights were out. There were black market opportunities from rationing, so people were stealing food and selling food on the black market. Criminals were exploiting fraud, forgery. Looting alone led to, I think, over 5,000 prosecutions in 4 months, ending December 1940. Murder rates rose dramatically. These were all linked to the strain on emergency services and the degradation of our institutions. And that's from the BBC. There was also a spike in juvenile crime. The most direct impact of absent fathers was on youth crime. In 1939, 52,000 under 17s appeared before a magistrate. In 1941, this jumped 38%, which was it rose 38% basically in 2 years. Police attributed this to boredom, lack of parental control, with unsupervised children turning to vandalism, theft, and truancy. A 1940s report found that 50% of all child crime came from homes with overly strict or overly lax parenting, often due to wartime separations or maternal stress from single parenting. Studies from 1910 to 1943 showed juvenile offences correlated to war mobilization periods, peaking as family disruptions deepened. These are things that happened in the Second World War, guys. There's no denying this. There's no, there's no arguing with what I'm saying. This is fact. The numbers don't lie. There's going to be a strain on policing as well. So guys, if you're joining for the first time, we're talking about a hypothetical situation where if Britain enters a third world war, the coalition of the willing fighting the Russians in Ukraine, in Poland, in Eastern Europe, how to prepare. And one of the things that nobody's talking about is the crime rate. Historically, Second World War, the crime rate rocketed. And that's what we're talking about. So there's going to be a strain on policing as well. If you think the police force are strained now, you can imagine when a lot of those male police officers have been sent to the military, which is going to reduce manpower. There's also going to be demands are going to go up because there's going to be sabotage or asymmetric warfare that these police officers are going to have to go and investigate. These are the things that happened in the Second World War, which are going to mean fewer patrols, fewer bobbies on the beat, more unchecked youth groups, more unchecked communities. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You know the diverse communities that we've got? What do you think is going to happen to them? It's going to be crackers, guys. It really is. It's going to be crackers. I just want to give some, in fact, I'll jump onto the chat and then I'll give some broader context. But, there's no denying what I'm saying right now, guys. The crime rate increases. The crime rate will increase. And I don't know what you guys think. In fact, I'm going to ask a question. Do you guys think that all these communities, Pakistani, Somalian, Eritrean, Afghani, how do you think those communities are going to react when all the men have gone to war? Do you think they're going to go, oh, well, let's not go over there because that girl's dad's over in a war fighting to protect everyone? Do you think they're going to say that, or do you think they're going to say something else? Philip Gray is saying public services are stretched to capacity, leading to poor response. Yeah, I mean, I think that's now. You can only imagine. You guys can only imagine what it will be like. I'm aware it will be voting age, which is why they lowered the voting age, but up to what age? I don't know what that means, Emma. Emma, can you give me more context, please? I don't know what that means. I'm aware it will be voting age, which is why they lowered the voting age. But up to what age? I don't know what that means, Emma. Galloway Raider is saying it's all hype. The Labour government are so incompetent they couldn't even be as stupid as to talk about war. I think Rupert Lowe said, was it not Rupert Lowe? What's the other guy? Is it Lee Andrews? Is it Lee Anderson? Lee Anderson? Is it Lee Anderson or Lee Andrews? The Reform MP. I think he said it best. He said he would rather have a chimpanzee as the Prime Minister because at least by mistake, a chimpanzee would make the right decision some of the time. Templar Matt is saying, I found out today army tanks are called tank because in the World War they had sheets covering them while being transported, and the government told people there were water tanks. All right, okay. Do you know what, Matt? I never thought about that. I never actually considered that for once in my entire life. Every day is school day, guys. Every day is school day. So Template Matt is saying, I was today years old when I found out tanks are called tanks because in the Second World War, when they were I don't know if you guys know this, in the First World War, tanks were a secret weapon. Nobody knew what a tank was. And when the Brits unveiled them on the battlefields in the First World War, it was wild. Nobody could deal with it. But yeah, they said they were water tanks. I did not know that, and thank you so much. Match of the day. Oh no, match of the cry. Sorry, not match of the day. Match of the cry is saying, no way anyone leaves if Somalis and Pakistanis are allowed just to stay there. No way you are in dreamland. I think what Match of the Cry is saying, is people shouldn't leave if Somalians and Pakistan. Okay, so I think what Match of the Cry is trying to say is nobody should go to war if Somalians and Pakistanis are allowed to stay in the United Kingdom. There's no way we should go and fight. I think that's what he's trying to say. Oh, he's got another question here. To reality, overestimate people's love for their country. No way. Kids don't give a shit about England anymore. Don't blame them. I don't think that's true. Honestly, I don't think that's true. I've said many times, guys. I've said many times. If there was a game, right? If there was a not poker game. If there was like a betting game, if there was like a race, right? Like Grand National or whatever, you had to bet on someone. I would go all in on Gen Z. I would go all in on Gen Z. Gen Z are going to be beasts, guys. Like, I can remember saying this over maybe even not last summer, the summer before. I can't remember. Whenever the riots kicked off in the UK, I had an orange shirt on. You guys can go find my videos if you want to scroll up. I've got an orange shirt on, and I'm talking. And when I had the orange shirt on, I'd just been and I'd witnessed the riots in Rotherham, and we live streamed from there. And one of the things I witnessed, and I didn't, unless you go to these places, unless you see things with your own eyes and feel things, it's very difficult to get a feel for it. We can look at, like, for example, the migrant crisis, right? The migrant crisis in the United Kingdom, the small boats, right? We can look at this and we can look at this and point the finger. Until you go there and see it yourself, it's very difficult to quantify. So, last week, in fact, yeah, it was this Friday. Well, it was a week ago today. I was over in France, and I saw this migrant crisis. I saw it firsthand. And what I thought I would see, I saw, but I also saw a lot of other stuff as well that I didn't think I would see. I saw different dynamics. So going back to Gen Z, last year when we was live streaming at the riots, I saw something that I don't think anybody else has spoken about. I don't think anybody else has even considered the long-term implications of that. This Generation Z. I saw a generation of young white men. They were fucking wild. Guys, they were fucking wild. I've never seen it. I've seen some shit, guys. I've seen some shit. I don't think I've ever seen rage, pure rage, like I saw on these young kids' faces. They were fearless. They did not give a shit. And these are like 14, 15, maybe 16-year-old kids fighting with police. Now, look, you can argue whether that's right or wrong. Obviously, it's wrong and we should all abide by the law. What I'm getting at, here is Generation Z, Generation Z, and Generation Alpha, they're going to be beasts because they're growing up in a difficult world. They're growing up knowing that they have to fight for every scrap that they get. They're growing up knowing that there are different people out there who want to hurt them. They don't have the luxury of freedom. They don't have the luxury of safety like their great-grandparents did, like the boomers did. And the boomers only had that luxury because their parents were the war generation. And the war generation, the Second World War generation, you guys know where I'm going to go. The meme, hard times create strong men create hard. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And it's a generational thing. Every time you can trace this generational, you can trace this back through the whole of recorded history. Literally, right now, we're in the fourth turning. We're in the fourth turning, which is a crisis or a war cycle. And that's where we are right now. So when people say that the kids won't be able to look after themselves, I'm saying bullshit. I'm saying absolute bullshit. Do you know why? Because these kids, we failed them. We absolutely failed them. We did. We failed them. These kids are not just going to look after themselves. They're going to look after everybody. They are, guys. And that's the reality. That is the reality of what Gen Z is facing. That's the reality of what Gen Z is facing right now, guys. Okay. Gen X, we grew up just like that. We did, guys. Gen X didn't go, guys. Gen X, look, I'm not getting into it, right? I'm not getting into it. Okay. I'm not getting into this, okay? Bye, Wacko. I will move on. All right, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll do you one better. I'll just block you. How about that? I don't even know what he said, but he's blocked. Right, guys. Let me jump. Let me come. Did I block him? I'm pretty sure I blocked him. Oh, yeah. Banned. That's it. Banned now. Now he's gone. I hope I didn't. Anyway. Oh no, I banned Googly! Oh no! Oh no, how do I unban Googly? Oh no, how do I unban Googly? Oh no, I've banned Googly! Oh no! Oh, I've totally fucked up here. This is why I don't ban people. Right, I'm gonna have to. Right, how to unblock? Oh, right. I have totally messed up here. What a douche. Right. To unban someone, you usually need to go to the People tab All people tab on the specific platform settings. Oh, God, this is going to be a faff. But for a simple chat block, guys, does anybody know how I can unblock somebody? Right, I'm just trying to... Yeah, totally right. Comments. Right, I've totally messed up it. Right, guys, sorry, guys. I'm just looking at the chat because I banned Googleino, Googly. I tried to ban that guy who was giving me douche. And for whatever reason, like, it must have just skipped up. And I can't... Right, I'm gonna have to do that another time, guys. I'm gonna have to do that another time. Right. Sorry, guys. Is that it? No, is that? Sorry, guys. I'm clicking the buttons. No, that's not it. Oh, I've totally douched this one, guys. I've totally douched this one. Is that it, people? No. I don't know how to do this, guys. I don't know how to do this. I do not know how to do this. I'm clicking on it there, but it's not. Oh, I can't directly. Okay, you can't directly unblock someone within a specific StreamYard stream once they're blocked, but you can. Right, let me go to YouTube. Hang on. Right, my account, block list. Right. Hang on. Let me try and do this, guys. Let me try and do this. So I'm on my YouTube account. My account. Later. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do it. No, it's not that one. Moderation. Is it that one? I don't know. Is it that one? No. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've had our first. We've had the first friendly fire incidents. We've had the first friendly fire incident, guys. First friendly fire incident. Right, guys, listen. I'm just gonna continue with my. I'm gonna continue with my monologue. All right. I'm going to continue. You know what? I'm just going to go on a blocking spree, actually, right? I'm getting shit from the chat. I'm going to get shit from the chat, right? Who else is going to get blocked? Who else is going to get blocked here, right? Because I will literally just go on a blocking spree right now. I will literally go on a blocking spree. I will go on a blocking spree. Oh, Google. Right, okay. Googleunus, all right? I was trying to block someone else. and then it must have skipped at the wrong time. Right. Hang on. Can I get this one here? Honestly, I'm just going to go on a mass blocking spree in a minute. I'm going to go on blocking spree and I'll just be doing a live stream on my own. I'll be just doing a live stream on my own. Right. Look, guys. after that little side quest, little side mission, I do apologize to Googly because I didn't mean to do that. I will try and get onto the settings and unblock Googly. What we've been talking about, ladies and gentlemen, on this live stream is people need to prepare before it's too late, and how to prepare for World War III and World War IV. Everybody's talking, and you know the government are spending a lot of time, money, effort, and resources in preparing people, making sure people have got food, water, you know, some sort of energy source. A big component of what's coming to the United Kingdom is going to be a huge crime wave. There's going to be a huge crime wave, guys, okay? Now, the reason I'm saying this is because there was a huge crime wave in the Second World War. You know, huge crime surge in the Second World War. Now, you can argue why this was. The absence of fighting age men, the Blitz, people taking opportunist crime. Doesn't matter. It was real. And what I'm getting at is the demographics of the United Kingdom in the Second World War were predominantly white Christian men. It was. I'm not making that up. That they were the demographics. Now, whether you think it's better or worse, I think it's a lot worse. But whether you think it's better or worse, we have totally different demographics now in the United Kingdom. So we've just been talking about the overall crime increase, juvenile crime, policing strain. All these things are true. All these things are coming. I want to talk about how the absence of men, what happened in the time of war, and I would say this is happening in Ukraine as well, although the statistics are not out. The absence of men eroded traditional deterrences like parental discipline, community vigilance, you know, fostering environments ripe for crime, especially in these vulnerable areas, you know, these vulnerable urban areas. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So can you imagine right now? I mean, honestly, guys, like the more I think about this, the more chilled I am. Like, not chilled as in a good way, the more terrified I am. Can you imagine right now if there is a young couple, all right? A young couple, they're maybe in their, I don't know. Do you know what? I've given you guys this. I'm going to build on something I've said previously. Imagine now there is a young couple, all right? They've just had a baby. They're early 20s. They've just moved into a house and they're paying their mortgage. One of them, through no fault of their own, loses their job. Let's say the man loses his job, for example. The man loses his job and they're unable to pay their bills. So they think about selling their house. Next thing, the government buys all the houses around it and they put in, you know, migrants in temporary accommodation. And just because of where it is, people don't really want to buy that house anymore. They're like, yeah, we kind of don't want to live here. So now you've got a young mother who's working, a dad who's feeling pretty shitty about himself. And then the war kicks off. And the dad thinks, well, do you know what? At least if I go and fight this war, I can, you know, I'm doing something for my family. I'm doing something. What do you think is going to happen to that family? Do you think they're going to be a vulnerable family? Do you think there's going to be vulnerabilities? It absolutely terrifies me, guys. It really does. And I think this is going to, you know, it's going to be something unseen initially, hidden, like the grooming gangs. Nobody's going to talk about it. But it's going to be there. It's inevitable because there are bad people. There are bad people, you know. And the statistics I were given, the numbers I were given, that was from the Second World War. And I think it's going to be a lot worse this time. And this is why I keep saying World War III is going to be international. World War IV is going to be national on our streets. So let me just share. I've got a couple of videos to share with you guys. Is it this one? No, it's this one. Yeah, this one. So I've got a quick video to share with you guys. I've got a little video to share with you guys. So because people in America are now talking about what I said. So people in America, guys, are now talking about what I've said. All right. So let me just share this with you. And you know how I say things, and then later, like politicians or world leaders say the same thing. They might use different words, but what they're saying is the same. For example, I used to say to you guys, the real terror threat to the United Kingdom is a complicated terror attack where you've got multiple attacks happening simultaneously. Turns out the government called that a marauding terror attack. It's the same thing. All right. So let me share this video with you guys and let me know what you think.
There's some people come over from some of these countries that want to come here for a better life, and they're going to assimilate and go by the things that we believe in, go by our Constitution. The Muslim group, Steve, this is World War III.
What he's actually talking about is what I call World War IV. All right? Same thing, different words.
Okay, and it's going to be on our soil. And it's coming so fast, within 5 or 10 years, it is going to be way out of control. We have a prime example of this. Europe. Europe is gone. And
Europe is gone. We're Europe. We're gone.
They will have to fight in the streets to get it back.
Did you hear what he just said, guys? We are going to have to fight in the streets to get this back. I've been saying this for a long time.
And they will have to fight in the streets to get it back. And that's coming. And so we do not want that to happen.
Now, the difference here is in America, they have a Second Amendment. They have guns. They have the legal framework to protect themselves. Here in the United Kingdom, we don't have anything.
Here, and the people of Alabama, the people of Hoover saw this, and they want to stop it before it really gets started. Don't let the fire start and get out of control. And I'm so proud of what there's some people come over from.
Sorry, let me just jump forwards.
We have a prime example of this, Europe.
Listen to what he says here, guys, okay? Listen to what he says. He's saying that Europe are going to have to fight in the streets to get Europe back.
Europe is gone. And they will have to fight in the streets to get it back. And
you know, I've been saying this for a long time, and he's right. He's absolutely right. We are beyond, we really are beyond that case where we can vote for Farage. Look, guys, I've got nothing against Nigel. I like Nigel. I've met him. I met him once. I'm not best mates with him. He's very intelligent. He's very intelligent. He's articulate. He's somebody I trust. I might be wrong. I've met him once. I'm not his best mate. It's the whole situation that we're in right now, guys. It's the whole situation that we are, it's the whole situation that we are finding ourselves in. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on. He will be on your block list. Click and unblock. Yeah, where's the block list? I don't know where the block list is because I'm using StreamYard. I don't know where the block list is. I think a lot of people work with young people of today. Now you can see these kids can handle themselves. It's quite scary. They are hard and will protect you. The last time I played a song, I got my video banned. But yeah, I believe so as well. I believe Gen Z are going to protect everybody. Sean, grab my comment. Right, where is it? Where's your comment, Donna? Where's your comment, Donna? Donna's comment. I wonder if the government will release some sort of booklet. They've done it. Donna, are you winding me up? They've done it. Donna, they've done it. Hang on. I'll share it with you. Hang on. Yeah, they've done it. They've got a website and everything, Donna. So Donna's saying, I wonder if the government will reduce. Donna is saying, I wonder if the government will release some sort of booklet of advisories for preparations for the upcoming war, like other countries. They've already done it. I'll show it you now. I'll show it you. It's called Prepare. I think it's called Prepare UK or something. And they've got a whole website on it. They've literally got a whole website on like how to prepare for, you know, all sorts of stuff. You literally go and explore that website. They've got kit lists. They've got all sorts of stuff. I think the difference here is, you know, people on mainland Europe, they're going to have, well, I would speculate that they're going to have Russian boots on the ground. I just don't feel, you know, I don't feel that, you know, I don't feel that that's coming to the United Kingdom. I don't see it. I feel we've already got the boots on the ground are already in the United Kingdom. Rasta Sounds is saying, I used to be like this, then I just stepped back and said, what will be, will be. It said it's written to happen. Well, whatever we do, if true, nothing will change the future. Rasta Sounds, have you never watched The Terminator? Have you never watched The Terminator and Terminator 2? You know, no fate but what we make for ourselves. Donna is saying, Sean, what would your top 10 items be? Water, candles, board games, vodka. More water, more candles, more board games, more vodka, and some coffee. And more coffee. They're my top 10 items. Donna is saying, why have I not seen it? There was like a massive thing, and the website, it got released. Yeah, I think it got released like last year or something. It was all over. Braxton is saying, evening all, I keep telling close friends what's going on and how to prepare. All I get is nothing I can do about it. Best to be ignorant to it. I give in. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Somebody said, don't forget the lube. Toilet rolls. Silly Galadi is saying toilet rolls. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I've had enough vodkas, I won't bother with toilet roll. Philip Gray saying, does anyone genuinely believe they're going to fight for this country when any of my age or above does not recognize this country anymore? This government and previous governments have treated us with disgust. It's hard to say that because, the other day when we got news that a British paratrooper had died in Ukraine. Oh, thank you. Leanne sent a super. Thank you so much, Leanne, for sending a super. I really appreciate it. Guys, I appreciate all the supers. I appreciate all the members. Thank you so much, Leanne. Hang on. Where was I going with that? Vodka is to bribe the Russians. So one of the first things I will tell you one of the first things, one of my first experiences in Ukraine. So it was 2014, right? The whole war had literally just started. The Maidan Revolution, the annexation of Crimea, the downing of MH17, it was all there, right? And I was in Ukraine, and I had to go to Dnipro. And I got out there, and my interpreter put me on a train. Now, I was absolutely swizzled. I had to get the 5:55 flight from Manchester, which means I had to be there at the airport for like 2 hours before. So like 4 o'clock or whatever. I'm about 2 hours from the airport, so I had to set off at 2 o'clock in the morning. And if you set off at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't really go to sleep, do you? You don't. Oh, what time is it, Booker? What time is it? You don't get any sleep. So I'd been awake like 24 hours. And when you get into a new country, you're meeting people. Oh yeah, hello, you're shaking hands, and they're all bright-eyed, bushy tails because they live there. Anyway, my interpreter took me down to the train station and she put me on a train and she said, right, this train will take you to Dnipro. I'm like, right, okay, no worries. I said, how long is it? She says, it's 9 hours. I'm like, right, all right, no worries. And these are like sleeper trains. And I don't know if any of you guys have been on like a Soviet style train. These things are huge, like just huge. They're just bigger. They're terrifying, And I was on like one of the bunk beds. So literally, as soon as my head touched that pillar, I was gone. Anyway, I woke up maybe like 3-4 hours later. Oh, I looked down and there was all these Ukrainian guys, big Ukrainian guys, with their shirts off, drinking vodka, playing cards. I don't think I've ever been as terrified in my entire life as that situation. Looking back now, if it was now, I'd have just jumped down and started drinking the vodka with them. But, yeah, Eastern Europeans drink a lot of vodka, guys. They do. They drink a lot of vodka. I don't think you can refuse conscription. You get sent to jail, I think. I think you get sent to jail as conscription. But conscription is against human rights. So we're all wanting to leave the ECHR. If we leave the ECHR, that will mean that conscription is allowed. Right. Special Boy saying, do you think we'll be able to buy guns again? I don't think that's ever on the cards, guys. I don't think that's ever on the cards. I don't think it's on the cards that we're going to get to buy guns again, unless we become part of the United States, which I do think is on the cards as well. I do. I think a United States takeover is coming. The short version of this, I don't see the scenario where Europe can up their manufacturing, recruit enough men to oppose the Russians. I don't see that. So what I genuinely see is the Russians marauding their way through Europe. They won't be able to get over this channel. They won't be able to get over the channel. And I do see a scenario where you have this block of China, Russia, the Stans, and as hard as I say it, guys, Europe as one block, and then the United States, Greenland, Canada, Venezuela, Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom as another block. James is saying, I've got a wind-up radio, just plays the BBC. It winds me right up. Tracy is saying, Sean, it's the weekend. Have a cider. You deserve it. I want to say, I hope you and Sarah and the girls have a lovely Christmas. Oh, Tracy, I hope you and your family have a lovely Christmas as well. I hope everybody has a lovely Christmas as well. I do. I hope everybody has the best Christmas that you can have. Remember, guys, Christmas is not about presents. It's not about presents. It's about, actually, if you want to go back to the old pagan meaning of Christmas, the whole story of the nativity, it's all written in the stars. It's literally written in the stars. I don't want to go into it now because it's quite complicated. I'll try and go into it as quickly as possible. So the Star of Bethlehem was the brightest star in the sky, right? You know, it was the brightest star in the sky. And what was so when baby Jesus was born, like 2025 years ago or whatever it was, what was the brightest star in the sky then? I'll give you a clue. It's the same as there was the brightest star in the sky now, which is Sirius. Now, Sirius is just off Orion's belt, basically. It's the brightest star in the sky. Now, where Sirius is on the 25th of December is right above where the sun will rise on the 25th of December. So now you're getting the sun rises underneath the brightest star. It's celestial, guys. It's all celestial. And when the sun rises on the 25th of December, that brings light to the world, right? Because baby Jesus brings light to the world. Yeah, he does. Because the 25th of December, so the 24th of December is the darkest day of the year. It is. It's the darkest day of the year. 25th of December is the darkest day of the year. So when the sun rises above this, you know, under the Star of Bethlehem or under the brightest star in the sky, it brings light to the world. So now there's more to it, guys. There's the three wise men, which is Orion's belt. There's so much celestial meaning into the nativity story, and it all comes back from. You can trace its roots back to paganism, basically, when people used to worship the sun and they used to use the stars to understand when they can plant seeds, etc. You know, so that's where it all comes from. Yeah, so Yule, the 21st of December. So the 21st, 22nd. What is it? No, sorry. So 21st, 22nd. No, is it? It's basically the 3 days, and then you get the when the sun rises. Sean, you must do a Christmas Day evening live. I will, guys. I'll be doing live streams all the time. Donna is saying 13 days until Santa brings me my bread maker. I've been making a lot of bread. I've been making a lot of bread recently. I've been doing lots of flatbread. It's really easy doing flatbread. And you can like put like cheese or like little bits of onions or chopped up bacon in that flatbread. It's fantastic. I love making my own flatbread. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start to close this live stream down now. I am going to start to close this live stream down now. The crux of this live stream is prepare before it's too late, because at some point it will be too late. There's lots of advice out there on kit and equipment. You know, I don't, look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I don't think people in the UK are going to run out of food or water. What I think will happen is, and we've already seen this, you know, we've already seen mainstream media talking about Russians poisoning water supplies, you know, utilities going down, blackouts, etc. But World War IV is what not many people are talking about, and that is going to be the war on our streets. The war on our streets, it's already here. People understand what's coming. In the time of the Second World War, there was an uptick in crime, and I would say that is going to be massively. There's going to be a bigger uptick in crime this time round because of the demographics. And that's just the reality, guys. You can argue about those demographics all you want. The reality is those demographics don't lie. And I would say that would be a precursor to a larger uptick in the crime wave. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Yes, I will, guys. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I do apologize for Googly for blocking him. I'll try and get onto my settings now and unblock you, mate. I really do apologize about that. I literally clicked the button and then it must, I don't know what happened. I clicked the button and as I clicked it, somebody must have sent a message and I clicked the other one. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I bid everybody good evening. Merry Christmas. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10.